Ooh, so much Alice and Kirito teasing this episode. Someone definitely wouldn't approve. Asuna, don't look. So what's up guys, Foxen here. SAO Alicization, War of the Underworld episode 5. Halfway point next week. Honestly, this was such an amazing episode, so many powerful moments. If you like this episode, go ahead and be awesome and also smash that thumbs up. Today's SAO video is brought to you by Crossing Void. Are you ready for the Avengers of Anime mobile games? You got over 25 anime series, 50 plus anime waifus. Enjoy this turn-based all-out brawl using characters like Asuna, Kirito, Kuruyuku Hime, Mikoto, Ren, Holo, Yuki, Shana, and 50 plus other popular characters. More being updated. Combine characters like Asuna teaming up with Yuki for her ultimate mother's Rosario cross skill. Or go ahead and cross Asuna with a different anime character. How about Asuna teamed up with Emi? And yes, you have all these different anime characters interacting with one another. It's pretty awesome. On top of this, they are voiced by the original Japanese voice actors. Go ahead and pick your favorite character and play with them in private for a bit. Go ahead and download via my specific link to get this free S-Rank anime waifu today. And yes, you can select them. So how about SAO Kirito? Just in time for SAO Season 3 is Integrity Night Alice. So go ahead and click the first link after this video to enjoy Asuna, Kirito, Alice, and a ton of your favorite anime characters. Definitely be sure to join the community contest where you can vote for your top favorite character. Anyway, diving into the actual episode, you got Alice meeting up Eugeo again. Glad to see you, Alice. Oh wait, you're with him? Let the sweet drama begin. Eugeo then brought up them having 30,000 troops versus the 50,000 on the Dark Territory side. It's really not anything that inspires real confidence. The SAO anime actually changed this here, giving this line to Eugeo. Originally, it was Alice that mentioned this while flying overhead. What makes this whole situation even more dire was Alice naively hoping that all the Integrity Knights would be available. Unfortunately, you did have Quinella's It knockoff clown freezing 10 of them, just to reset them. 8 other no-name knights are either in the capital or patrolling the mountain areas, which means down to 13 Integrity Knights. What a lucky number. Anyway, getting into the drama, Eugeo butting heads with Alice. Or should I say the lack of drama? The anime actually cut this super thin. Not really too surprising, Eugeo wouldn't be much of a fan of Alice protecting Kirito, especially if it meant endangering her own life. Anyway, Bercoli coming in. Gotta love him suddenly calling Alice plump. Skipped out here was Alice actually thinking that perhaps she enjoyed Selka's delicious cooking a bit too much. Then for Alice seeing Bercoli, Alice actually thought that besides Kirito, the only other person she definitely could never beat in a battle was Bercoli. Oh, shots fired, Fanatio. Next up, Bercoli using the incarnate sword in the anime. This was another one of those moments that I was really curious to see how it would be visually done for the anime. How much would be explained? This whole thing was really just hinting at Kirito still being somewhere in there. The key part here was Kirito actually protecting Alice instead of himself. I think I much preferred how Bercoli came out for the anime. Although do notice Alice reaching for her blade. She was really ready to defend Kirito even if it meant fighting her beloved uncle. The more surprising thing here was actually seeing Alice clinging to idol Kirito. To me, she really comes off as this lost puppy hanging onto this lifeline. Anyway, getting into some of the juicy details the anime skipped over. First off, the incarnate sword. The SAO anime visually showed you this dagger. This incarnate sword actually surpasses the incarnate arm, which is the ability to move swords. Previously, you saw Eugeo display this. It's supposed to be this invisible blade that could even deflect physical ones. Talk about being overpowered. Although when it comes to the incarnation system, it's nothing too fancy. At the end of the day, I really liked how Bercoli just told Eugeo off. Don't worry about it, dude, it's just a +1 guy. Anime Eugeo was a lot more silent. In the light novel, Eugeo actually demanded to know why. Even if Kirito recovered, he couldn't see how a single person could make such a huge difference. Bercoli then actually brought up how Eugeo defeated him, and then both of them were responsible for taking out Quinella shortly after. I would have liked to see this, but perhaps it was not needed. Getting into the tent. Ooh, it's getting steamy up in here. The anime skipped out on Alice thinking how Bercoli already had this tent prepared since day 1. In other words, he knew Alice would return. However, Bercoli didn't actually think that Alice would bring Kirito with her. Only one bed. Talk about something getting hot. So they done it in the teaser trailer, the actual trailer, and most recently the episode preview. I've told you, they know what they're doing. In the actual episode, it did look like Alice was going in for a big wet one. I bet you that 98% of SAO fans will think that. I mean, sure, you could say that Alice just wanted to look at Kirito's eyes closely, but even then, you know what the scene looked like. Unfortunately, that is what anime watchers will think anyway. Something I did like about this scene was how it made Alice's thoughts pretty crystal clear. Alice had been lost for a while, only seeing herself as this created being, a false one occupying real Alice's body. Let me actually get into Alice's thoughts from the light novel. Back when they were climbing the tower, she only thought about how much she hated Kirito. I mean, Kirito called her baka 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 so many times. Alice's issue here was her thinking that she had to close herself off emotionally. Then for that moment. In reality, Alice was really just checking Kirito's eyes for any positive signs. Alice saw darkness there and perhaps some stars in the distance. Then Alice kept on getting closer and closer. In other words, Alice really just checking for a sign of life. Now flip that to the anime, that definitely looked like something else. Unfortunately, this is only going to fuel people who actually ship Kirito and Alice for whatever reason. Which is why I don't like how this was shown in the anime. If anything, I wish they changed this. Honestly, I have been completely lost at anyone who actually thinks this is a possible endgame couple. Alice and Kirito have known each other for at best half a day. Most of that time, Alice wanted to stick her blade up his manhole. Then for Kirito, he hasn't had any feelings for anyone besides Asuna. I mean, for the actual SAO fanbase, if Kirito and Asuna did not happen, I could picture fans calling for blood. SAO books would be burned. I mean, there's a higher chance for Eugeo to be revived than boning Kirito. But then you have scenes like this in the anime. Stuff like this definitely doesn't help. Anyway, welcoming back Teisei and Roni. Honestly, they've only been here a short while, but between the SAO games and SAO merch being released here in Japan, it feels like they've become a much bigger part for the SAO Season 3 anime. The small interaction between the three was pretty sweet. Previously, Alice had only appeared as this cold, serious knight figure to both of them. Now she's completely softened up, definitely opening up her heart to others, whether Alice is aware about this change or not. For some of the skipped Alice stuff, Alice actually noticed how despite the army being so short-handed, they shouldn't have these academy students here, which means Roni and Teisei actually volunteered on their own. Getting into the harsh Kirito and Eugeo reality, Roni's gonna be totally fine, but Teisei clearly had feelings for Eugeo. This whole scene was really opening up that Eugeo wound again. I was curious to see how the anime would do the light up Blue Rose sword moment. Looks like they didn't want to show Eugeo's face or even have his voice here. The whole thing really confused Alice. Previously, Eugeo fused with the Blue Rose sword, so could it have something like Eugeo's soul within it? Alice wondered. Perhaps the shattered sword still has a part of Eugeo's will within it. At the very least, Teisei and Roni still have each other in this depressing time. I was actually confused about this next scene. You had Teisei and Roni spilling over what caused all of this. This whole scene actually didn't happen until the final day before the war. Getting into Alice's powerful moment, really the standout stuff from this episode. I really loved Alice's speech here about the heart and soul, the body just being this temporary vessel. On the flip side, these girls had no idea about Alice's own burden she had to bear. Alice really put herself out there sharing her own misfortune, something she previously only talked to Berkoli about. I did like how the anime showed Alice thinking back to Kirito switching to his SAO clothing, before trying it herself. You actually recently saw Alice healing her eye using the incarnation power. This time, Alice used that same power to change her appearance too, just like Kirito had done. Next up, Alice and Berkoli. Ooh, Berkoli feels like Kirito's gonna be super important in the fight. In other words, some pretty obvious foreshadowing right there. What's more important is Berkoli here admitting himself probably not being able to match up to Kirito's willpower. Berkoli mentioned Kirito's actual combat experience. This should definitely feel weird to anyone in the Underworld. Keep in mind, like Berkoli hinted, these guys don't really ever have to fight where they're at risk of dying. Even when Integrity Knights fight other Dark Territory forces, those fights are pretty much one-sided. Berkoli himself has only ever lost to a Dark Knight once and retreated. On the flip side, you have Kirito, a person who was a victim of that SAO death game for around 2 years. Kirito was constantly pushing himself, nearly dying so many countless times. So yes, Kirito actually dying beats anything Berkoli has ever experienced in the Underworld. But keep this in mind, this is not limited to only Kirito. This includes most SAO survivors. Unfortunately, you have Alice being cut off here. She actually thought back to Kirito being from the outside world. Better tell Berkoli, oh great, Fanatio came in. You really do have to love Alice's expression seeing Fanatio. Oh my god, you're a girl? I do have to bring up this SAO anime change. In the light novel, Alice actually claimed that she had only seen Fanatio's face once before, by coincidence. It was when both of them were bathing. Yet the anime actually showed both of them together in a flashback. For the actual Fanatio stuff, it was really great this episode not only seeing development and progression for Alice, but now some growth from Fanatio too. Oh, Mr. Gender Equality, Kirito fought me with all his might. Funny too how even Fanatio was joking around about wanting a piece of Kirito. And Alice so playful too. No, that will not be necessary. Come on, where is that Integrity Knight Fanatio figure announcement? Shut up, Wallet, stop crying. Then for their little catty talk. The smartest person in this conversation, of course, being Berkoli. He Batmaned the hell out of there. Anyway, getting into the actual war planning. During Fernatio's strategy talk, you saw 2 more Integrity Knights up in the front. One of them is Integrity Knight number 12. In the novel, I did get this Claymore vibe from her, so looking forward to her. And then the green dude you saw in the opening. This guy's number 27, Renly. By the way, even more cameos, Lipa Senpai and Eugeo's mentor. For the actual battle plan, pretty awfully simple. Really this last stand. Fernatio is betting on them getting this advantage over the Dark Territory side by just erasing all sacred power available. And yes, for anime only watchers, it may sound weird, but Alice is a key for this plan to work. You're gonna see next episode. As for Alice's brief goodbye moment, oh, she definitely enjoys embracing that Kirito man-meat. Originally, this would have been the spot where Alice had that powerful talk. I'm actually glad the anime moved this stuff around. Then for Alice and Eldry, this definitely felt like Alice raising some sort of flag. I do like how even Eldry acknowledged that. At the very least, Alice did give this knight a final command. By my power, survive. Is that a Geass reference? So yes, the final war is beginning. My god, did Lisa do such an amazing job with that ending. It feels like it gets me in tears every single time. The funny thing about this is that I constantly run into it playing on the radio here, either in stores or even 7-Eleven. It always takes me back. I freaking love the end display here from the Dark Territory leaders, Gabriel still looking bored as hell, then the Integrity Knights and their troops. These guys are not ready at all. The war begins next episode. Are you ready? Next up, the light novel changes going into the SAO anime. First off, 2 Alice things in the beginning. When flying overhead, Alice actually noticed the hair color of people in this area, which was black. Could they be related to Kirito? Alice thought perhaps having Kirito meet them could improve his condition. Then Alice thinking about fighting the Dark Territory side. She knew that she'd easily be able to take out a few hundred of the weak foot soldiers. However, the Orc Archers and Dark Mages would eventually overwhelm her. Next up, Eldry, the drama and stuff cut from him. Eldry had always practically worshipped Alice. On top of this, under the Taboo Index, even Integrity Knights like him were unable to disobey higher-ups like Alice. Eldry in this moment technically wasn't disobeying Alice, but at this moment he was now thinking and voicing his own opinion loud and clear. He was no longer blindly obedient to Alice. It was most likely after Eldry's encounter with Kirito and Eugeo that caused this change within him. Ironically, he was only able to voice his outcry due to Kirito, who he deeply disliked. Alice then thought back to other influenced individuals. For example, Selka, who voiced her concerns about issues within the ruled village. There were even 2 other girls who dared to approach an Integrity Knight fairly recently. The final person most influenced, of course, had been Alice herself, ultimately allowing her to break the seal forced upon her at birth. Next up, Berkoli. Unfortunately, they cut out the scene of Berkoli feeling a disturbance in the forest. Berkoli actually noticed someone's blade suddenly disappearing on the Dark Territory side. I really wish they included this. Next up, the Dark Territory side. They completely cut out a whole section about them. This included some details about them as they marched towards the gate. A good chunk included Gabriel's thoughts. Gabriel actually played around with the idea about capturing an Integrity Knight to taste their soul, although he shouldn't risk it. Vasago was right there next to him, getting his ass drunk. Gabriel did point out how Vasago ran for cover as soon as that attack was released last episode. He then asked Vasago why he volunteered for this Ocean Turtle mission. Taking part in live fire was not Vasago's thing. Vasago simply answered that this seemed like fun. Overall, the stuff here doesn't seem that important, although it's always the small things that serves to build characters up, especially someone like Gabriel. I'm going to guess they may bring this back up in future episodes once the fighting starts. By the way, ReZero is back. Definitely check out my non-spoiler review on the new ReZero special, the Amelia Focus one. How was this special without Subaru or Rama? Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. You're definitely an SAO fan since you're watching, so check out how I rank the best fights in SAO. See it if your favorite SAO moment made it on my list. Enjoy, and I'll see you guys later.